What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. So you guys see the title. We're going to talk about some shit tonight. And maybe give you some insight as to what happened this weekend. Aaron and I just got back literally about half an hour ago from Orlando, the Mr. Olympia, or the Olympia weekend. We were at Titan Medical's booth. I want to thank Titan for the hospitality and everything they did for us and the other athletes there. Had an amazing time. It was really awesome to be back at an expo. It was amazing. All of you that came out to say hi, what's up, take pictures, talk about things, thank you for stopping by. It was great to see all you guys again. Old faces, met some new people. It was really like being back to normal again. It wasn't a full-size expo. It was probably about the size of the LA Fit Expo, to be totally honest with you. But they are moving it back to Vegas next year, and it will be bigger and better than ever. So that being said, let's talk about some shit right now. So, here we go. Let me preempt this with the fact that the judges that were judging the Olympia are my friends. I judge with them. Some of them actually trained me. I did speak to some of them after prejudging to get their opinions of what was going on. You know, I think what we'll do is first we'll go over let's go over Classic first. Let's do Classic. So Classic, we saw Terrence Ruffin, who's actually from our area, placed second, Breon third, and I'll tell you what, Terrence, he has made great gains, great physique, comes in great condition. Of course, he's a little bit smaller stature-wise, obviously, than Bumstead, and I think he's got the perfect X-frame. His condition is there. I don't know what he would have to do to knock out Bumstead, to be totally honest with you. I think maybe more density to his physique, and we'll get into that in a second. Breon, I love Breon's physique. I love his physique. I mean, he's doing the best with what he can with his frame and stuff, and he's got a great frame. But again, he's smaller than Bumstead. Now, Bumstead this year, normally I'm like, you know, he's good. This year he impressed the hell out of me. When I saw him on stage, I was like, damn, the dude looks good. For me, when I'm looking at him, it's very hard to find a flaw in him anywhere. He hits his poses well. He came in great condition. He has some added size, but the density to his physique was what really stood out to me this year. Like, he looked like he was carved out of stone. He started hitting the poses, and I'm like, look, I'm looking at him, I'm thinking like Bob Paris, Barry DeMay, I'm thinking, you know, Lee Labrada, I'm thinking all these guys back in the day. The proportions were all there, the symmetry was there, the hardness was there, the dryness was there, added size was there, appeared to be added size, maybe it was just the fact that he was leaner. But the added density, I was like, hands down, when I saw him, I said, shit, he's got this. Like, really, it's a fight for second and third and not first at this point. So props to Chris Bumstead for bringing, I mean, I truly feel the best Classic physique package that we've seen so far. And he's going to be very hard to beat. He three-peated this weekend. I think that if he keeps improving, I don't really think he needs to gain a whole lot more size on his frame, because it's not really about size in Classic. But the more dense that he gets, the more he has that old school look. Like, those guys used to really get peeled and look grainy hard. Like, go back and look at some of those videos of like Lee Labrada, Francis Benfetto, Sean Ray before he started playing the size game when he was under 200 pounds. Look at, you know, all those guys, Bob Paris, I don't know if I mentioned Bob already. Go back and look at those guys, and you'll see that, you know, back then, those bigger bodybuilders didn't do that well. The mass at all costs didn't do well back in the day, and I think that was something that we saw here. It was really not about, like, who could put on the most amount of mass for Classic. It's just Chris Bumstead had the overall best physique, and it was, I mean, again, amazing. He was amazing. So that being said, props to Chris, and congratulations. Now, heading into the 212 division. So I'm just going to go with the top two, right? Sean Claridia is a buddy of mine. I like Sean, great guy. Physique is just packed with muscle. I saw him after, you know, after the finals where he got second place, and he said, "I'm not done yet, man." He's like, "Hey, I'll be back. I'm not done yet. I'm coming after that title again." So, you know, he's in good spirits, and he seemed like he was ready to pretty much just get started moving forward to try to come back next year and try to grab his title back. Now, on the flip side of that, I've always looked at Derek Lunsford as he has the physique, he has the frame, right? He has all the tools, but he's never put together the conditioning. Like, I've seen him 2-3 weeks out, and he looks great. Last year, he kind of missed the peak a little bit. You know, that shit happens. It happens all the time in bodybuilding, where the night before you might be peaking and shit, you hit it too early. You try to maintain it, you get there the next day, and everything is off, and you're trying to push and pull. Like, you're trying to add things to stay full. You're trying to pull things to stay tight. And then, oh, I'm a little too flat, so add some more to stay full. Oh, I'm too full, pull a little more to tighten up. And I've seen him bounce back and forth, and this year he just put it together. He put together a physique that was very, very wide. Like, Sean Clarida's physique is very compact with his frame. And he's got so much muscle on it, whereas Derek's is wider, and he's got a lot more frame that he fills out. And from the front, he was just so wide. His waist was so small. His taper was great. The lats were great. The legs were great. Overall, a different type of physique than Sean. But the bottom line was the judges saw it that way and said, you know what, it's his time. Gave it to him. And I actually saw Derek walk by, and I talked to him for a minute. And he looked very, very tired yesterday. I'm not going to lie. He looked spent. You know, we're talking for a second. And you could just see his eyes. He's just like, and I'm thinking he just won the Mr. Olympia. He must have put everything into it and just busted his ass to get to that point. He was depleted, walked away with a win. And then I saw some videos of him today. He went live in Orlando, and he was going to work out. He did a photo shoot. He's going to work out, and he was like beaming. Like he was back. He was energetic. He was like, I did a photo shoot, but guess what? I'm going to work out today. Like I just won the Olympia yesterday, and I love working out so much that I'm going to work out today. You know, and he did a live workout, like just get a chest pump in the gym. So he didn't even take a day off. Like he literally won the Olympia, and he's back in the gym training the next day. And of course, he's not moving forward to like try to improve for next year, but he's like, I need to get a pump, man. I want to feel it because I haven't been able to really train. You know, like that last few days, sometimes you're training, you're either trying to deplete, or if you're too depleted, maybe you cut back on training. It's not fun those last few days. So congratulations to him on the 212 win. And it was amazing, an amazing battle. There were times where I was like, it could go either way and see who edges who out, which, you know, Derek won. So congratulations to Derek. Now, we're going to move to the Open. And this is one that I think a lot of people don't understand. I've had to explain this one a few times to a few different people as to what happened and why. Now, excuse me. Excuse my voice, it's gone. We were actually at the booth at Titan and the Olympia merchandise. Now, that's something we don't see a lot of. This is the first year they had the Olympia merchandise. They had a huge, like probably 6 or 7 booths, all encased in one. And they were selling all these cool sweatshirts and stuff. Aaron and I bought a few. And they had like these speakers blaring music to where you couldn't hear yourself talk to the people that you were talking to. So by the time we were done with the first day, I had no voice left. By the time we were done yesterday, I really was just like, I can't talk. Today it's back a little bit, but... So, like I said, I spoke to some of the judges, and again, these judges, I judge with them, and some of them have actually helped train me, and to see what was going on and what their thoughts were, and they gave me their thoughts, and it seemed like after prejudging, it looked like it was going towards Brandon's way. Now, I haven't seen the official scorecards. Now, we try to tell people this all the time as judges. It's not over till it's over, okay? Now, what does that mean? In the amateurs, the finals are not scored. Right? In the pros, they are scored, and so is the Olympia. It's scored at the finals. Now, you might be saying, Jerry, what do you mean it's scored at the finals? Bear with me. So if you remember in 2001, Jay was beating Ronnie going into the finals. And then Ronnie beat Jay, excuse me, my voice is so messed up, in the finals by a few points. And they were like, well, how the hell did that happen? People don't realize there's a scoring confirmation round. A confirmation scoring confirmation round. However you want to say it. I've heard it both ways. And what that means is after prejudging is over, these guys have to maintain their condition. Now, Phil Heath's famous for this. He comes in bigger and fuller Friday night, and then he sucks down and peels out and comes in Saturday, fucking shredded to the bone, head to toe, and he fucking takes it. There are times where people have thought, oh, Phil's not going to get it this time. And he makes that adjustment, and he does it all the time. It's kind of like his plan. Come in big and full, show that tight enough, but big and full, and then just come in fucking peel the next night. Because what happens is those guys try to get more peeled, or they try to get bigger because Phil's playing the bigger game. So they try to fill out and wind up bloating, and Phil comes in tighter and winds up smoking them all because he looks even bigger when he gets tighter. So that's kind of what a lot of people do. If they're Friday night, they're a little bloated, retain a little water. By Saturday, if they can remedy that and come in harder, they're going to change their placing. Unless the people that they're competing against gets harder also. Like, people don't realize that Saturday night, a lot can change from Friday night based on the scoring and who wins, and that's just 24 hours. Now, bear with me. I'll explain what's happening. A few weeks ago, we had the show here in Virginia at the Hyatt, over the Dulles Hyatt, and we had a confirmation scoring round in just about every class. So what that means is you come out for prejudging, and I was the head judge. I ran the show, so I'm aware of how this works. You come out for prejudging. Let's say first and second, it's close. It's very close, and first is edging out second, right? That show is not over. People, oh, well, the routine is not scored. But that doesn't mean there can't be another scoring in finals. Now, the head judge reserves the right to rejudge the entire class for any reason at the finals. You'll see it sometimes where maybe someone was put in the wrong class or whatever. They didn't make the show, or what, they didn't make the morning show or whatever it was. and the promoter will say, you know, I want to give this guy a chance or whatever. It's up to the promoter at that point, and they will rejudge the entire class. Or if the head judge sees that it's so close right now, the confirmation scoring round means that after prejudging, and we tell people this, once you're done with prejudging, that it doesn't mean it's over. We have a meeting before every show. Doesn't mean it's over. Okay, your placing can change if we judge again at night. It happens. It depends on how close it is, or if it's a tie, which means half the table has it one way, half the table has it the other way. And instead of the head judge being the tiebreaker, which means just one person gets to decide who wins, what we do is rejudge it again. That means each judge can go back and see now what's on the stage in front of them, and we can see if one of them improved to break the tie, confirmation scoring round. That happens at the Olympia every single time. They used to have the fan favorite. It was the fan where the fans could basically say what pose they wanted to see, and they would have, you know, the bodybuilders hit the pose of what the fans chose. It was like fans' favorite they had at the Olympia one year. So there's different things that can happen. I don't think people realize that. So after talking to the judges, after prejudging and seeing what I saw a much bigger Brandon Curry, a much bigger than before, fuller but dense. His muscle looked hard and dense. And the pictures, now remember, I'm looking at pictures, so I don't see the whole thing that the judges see at the table, which is why I asked the judges after the prejudging, what do you guys think? This is what I saw. Tell me what you saw. And I can tell you we're going to go down the top 6 right now. After the finals, the way that I had it scored was Brandon Curry winning, Ramy second. And the reason being, if you look at the pictures and even in person, Ramy's upper body no longer matched his lower body. His legs actually got bigger. He came in at 305 pounds, which the judges have told him, no more size. They have told him, do not get any bigger, period. They don't want him any bigger. If anything, come down in size. Ramy didn't listen. He went up to 305 pounds, came in not as conditioned. Now, Ramy's got some crazy shots. From the side on his leg and stuff, nobody's beating him there, right? But that's not the only thing you look at those shots. In the morning prejudging, when you looked at those side shots, Ramy had crazy legs from the side. When you got to the upper body, Brandon was beating him in thickness and width by the way he posed and the density of his muscles in the morning in a side chest shot. Go back and look. You can look at Ramy and Brandon in the side tricep shot. Brandon's abdominals are popping and his stomach is flat. His waist is tight. Ramy was like washed out in his abdominals. And when you looked at his shoulders and stuff, they had like a weird washout, whereas Brandon's was so tight and from the front, you could see the striations and the separation of the muscle, whereas Ramy didn't have that same pop. So yeah, he was gigantic, but he didn't have the pop. Size is not going to win it here at the Olympia. It's just not. It's not all just about size. Or you have guys like Lou Frigno winning, or you know those bigger guys, but it's also not just about striations. Okay, which means that people like Andreas Munzer, because we're going to get into Hadi Choopan in a second, so a lot of people like Hadi should have won. Well, just because you see striations on somebody, the density isn't necessarily there. Andreas Munzer is one of the most striated people of all time, never cracked top 10. Okay, if you don't know who he is, look him up. This is going back. So it's not just about the striations, it's about who puts the best package together. Now, bear with me again. We're going to go through the whole thing. So after the finals, I saw that happening. I said, you know what? Brandon's got him. Brandon's absolutely got him. I saw Brandon after prejudging. He came. I saw him walking by. When I said Brandon, he came over. He hugged me, and he locked on. He grabbed me. And I said, "Listen, man. I'm like, you got this. Seriously, stick to your shit. Make sure your conditioning is key. You got this." And he did. He came in fucking dry hard, and he looked phenomenal. Right now, Brandon. The thing is, a lot of the judges want his legs to be bigger, and his legs got bigger, but so did his upper body. His whole body got bigger, so he had a bigger overall physique. So and there are shots where he's hitting most musculars, and his traps and shoulders were beating Ramy. Like you could see it. His striations through his chest and his density of his chest, he was beating Ramy. He was beating Hadi. Like, I'm sitting there going, this is the best Brandon we've ever seen. This is what he's capable of. Like, legitimately, like, we have not, and I don't believe that this was the best Brandon. I still say that we haven't seen the best Brandon yet. Now, Hadi Choopan, I had him in third place. Why third place, Jerry? What about the leanness? What about the striations? Hadi has what I believe he claims is scar tissue in his shoulders. This is something you cannot reward. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I saw bumps and lumps in somebody's shoulders like that and I was a judge, I probably wouldn't even give him the top 5 because that is not the message you're going to send that, hey, shove a whole bunch of oil in your body and get in the stage and be one of the best in the world, and you're going to have every bodybuilder chasing that. You're not supposed to have inflated muscles with oil. It's supposed to be real muscle that you've trained for, which means you can't have implants in your body. You can't have synthol. And if there's clear evidence of implants or synthol, that should be an automatic disqualification in my book. However, that's not the way it went. But the judges were clear that they do not like to see that shit. So you're not winning anything if you've got lumps all over your body. Stop the injections, right? So that's where the Hadi Choopan thing. Great conditioning, overall good shape. Didn't have necessarily the size and symmetry that Brandon did or Ramy did, but held his own, right? But if it wasn't for those damn lumps, and it is a big deal. You guys don't think it is a big deal. When you see that shit on the Olympia level, local level is one thing. I don't like it at the local level. But when you see it on the Olympia level, listen, that's a bad message to send, okay? Bottom line. So now I had Brandon, Ramy, and Hadi. In fourth, I had Nick Walker. Why Nick Walker? He carried the friggin' size. He came in very consistent again. He wasn't off. Was he his best? I mean, I don't know. We don't think we've seen Nick's best yet, but he's very consistent. Tampa, Arnold, here, consistent. He didn't wind up in fourth. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to tell you guys everything, how this all unfolded and how the placings went the opposite way where, even the judges saw it one way of prejudging. Finals, things went a different way. After that, I had Bonac in fifth place. Right? Bonac's got a great physique. I thought overall he had good density. He was lean. He is short in stature. He doesn't carry the mass that the other guys carry, and they're going to outmass him because this is the open class. It is about mass, and the more mass he puts on his frame, the more bunched up he looks, which is also not a good look. They don't want a bunched up look. That's why Ramy, with that frame that he has, can carry all that mass and not look bunched up. He looks bigger and bigger. Brandon looks bigger and bigger. The bigger that Bonac gets now, he kind of looks more and more bunched up. So I don't really know what the answer for him is. I don't know. To win the Olympia, I don't know what the answer is. So it is what it is. Now, in the sixth spot, we had Hunter Labrada. I thought Hunter brought great shape, great symmetry, the best version of Hunter that we've seen. At the prejudging, he was sweating a lot, which means he wasn't really dry enough. It means he was retaining water. When you're dried out and you're on stage and you're not sweating, there isn't a drop of sweat coming out of you, you've dried out properly and you can see everything and you're hard and grainy and dry, etc. So that was the top six right there. Now, how did it end up? Ramy won the show. How did he beat Brandon if Brandon was ahead of him going into the finals? Now, I told you about the confirmation scoring round. Ramy's front double bicep, I think it's his worst pose. His legs are gigantic. His waist is good. His shoulders are wide. His lats are good. His arms seem to be lackluster this year. Didn't have the pop and the prejudging. Well, he came back Saturday night and he had dried out. Now, he wasn't as good as he was previous year, but he had dried out enough to not only outsize Brandon like he was, but now bring that conditioning that showed, hey, here's the deal. I am conditioned. We'll rejudge again. It's basically like seeing it for the first time when you do the confirmation scoring round. You don't worry about what happened before. You're judging now. And sure enough, he edged out Brandon. Now, he got lucky. I shouldn't say get lucky. It takes skill to dry out like that. But had things gone a different way, Brandon would have won. So for Ramy, I think the key for him winning anymore, I think he's starting to get a little bit of a distorted physique. His obliques and his waist were wide for him. His abdominals weren't deep like Brandon's were. Like they were kind of like, it was weird. They had like a big separation in the middle. It looked like the separation was further apart. It looked like his lats didn't have as good a taper. His obliques popped out a little bit. This happens when guys get too big. And at 305, he's too fucking big. He needs to go down to 290 again and just stay there. I mean, he's playing a game that he doesn't need to play anymore. And I don't know who he's listening to or why he's doing it, but bottom line is, winter is here, winter's coming, all this bullshit. You can do that with the conditioning, with the muscle he has. He doesn't have to put any more on. So that's how Brandon came in exactly the same. He really couldn't get much drier without passing out on stage. I mean, he was full. Brandon's always full. He was dry enough. He improved. Great physique. I know him. He's a great guy. I love him. But Ramy came in and dried out. And when you're the reigning Olympia champion, you have to bump him off with a knockout punch. And at that point with the confirmation scoring round, it wasn't a knockout punch. It was a TKO. That is not going to win you the title back. And unfortunately, Brandon did not get the title. He wound up in second. Now, third place who was in third place? Hadi Choopan. So Hadi, again, I do like Hadi's physique. I think he comes in dry. I think he definitely brings a different look to the stage. But I do believe with those lumps in his shoulders that he has, and they're very strange looking. Like when he goes like this, there's like these weird, the triangle delts. I don't believe it's a good look for an Olympian at all. So for me, it was a gift. That's just my personal opinion. Now, that being said, in fourth was, I think, it was Hunter. Hunter was in fourth. Hunter dried out. When he came back, he was dried out, and he was grainier and drier than both Bonac and Nick Walker, right? And then you had Nick Walker and Bonac, who really didn't change that much from prejudging to finals. Confirmation scoring around, they pretty much placed what they should have placed. While you had Hunter, who improved, you had Ramy, who improved, and you had Brandon and Hottie, who didn't really improve from one night to the other. And that's a hard thing to do, guys. Like, you have to sit down and go, well, here's why all these guys are beating me. How do I change what I have in 24 hours to come back and beat them? Right? Ronnie did it to Jay in 2001. We've seen it plenty of times. So overall, I think, and I got a bunch of messages, a bunch of questions. Jerry, how the fuck is this possible? Like, Brandon was beating him. This happened with Ronnie and Jay, and they compare it to Ronnie and Jay 2001. That's what it is, the confirmation scoring round, scoring confirmation, however you want to say it. I've heard it both ways, like I said. But the bottom line is, the show is not over until it's over. We have people at the local level where this person is winning and this person is in second, right? And then you have third, fourth, and fifth in that first call out, right? Let's say we call them all back out again. And first place went out to eat after prejudging, and he bloated himself up, and he's all puffy now. And this guy stayed tight and got even tighter. You put them next to each other, now he switches places with him. He beats him. Now, what also could happen, check this out. First and second, let's say it's close between them two, but we'll bring out, the other five, and the other, three in the top five, or the first call out. Let's say these guys didn't change at all, but third and fourth dried out, and third got bloated. They'll switch places. That placing can switch. Now, there are other times where you can bring out, you'll bring out that top five, but when you got the top two, like at the Olympia, they might bring them out, which is Brandon and Ramy. Just compare those two, which means they already know where third, fourth, fifth, and sixth place. Like, their placings haven't changed. Let's give them one more shot at each other to see who wants it more. Like, let's see if they can duke it out. The more one poses, let's see if he hardens up, the other one flattens out, one gasses out, one gives up. That's what happens when it's really close. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. That's all there is to it. So, for those of you that compete out there that may not have known what I'm talking about, make sure your diet is on point, you're sticking to your whole regimen, your routine, whatever it is on contest day. That show is over when you have the trophy in your hand and you're at the restaurant eating your tacos or burger, whatever the fuck it is. That's when it's over. A lot of shit can happen and change it. I've seen it many times. I've seen people lose pro cards because they had a confirmation scoring round because it was so close or tied, and that person figured it was over and they've already won. And what they do is they go out and they pig out, and next thing you know, oh shit, I lost my pro card. And at that level, where you're at the national level, when you win your pro card, you have the photos and stuff for NPC News Online. Like, those are important photos. Those are your first photos as a pro bodybuilder, which are the next day. Some people back in the day used to go out and eat, get all bloated. Those photos look like shit. If you're smart with social media nowadays, you win the show, win your pro card, and stay on your diet and say, look, I know everybody's going out and partying and eat right now. I just turned pro. I've been working my whole life for this. I'm a pro. I need to start acting like a pro. I need to maintain this condition for one more day for a photo shoot, because those photos might wind up launching something for me for social media, which would be contracts, careers, whatever the case may be. So overall, guys, I think that this Olympia, I did think it was up for grabs. I really did. And it was. And it was interesting to see Ramy revamp things, come in a little bit drier on Saturday night. It was awesome to see the improvements at Brandon. I've been following Brandon. When I went out to Tennessee, he was still in Kuwait. I didn't get to see him while I was out there. But it's interesting to watch these guys change. And I think that Nick Walker's debut was amazing. I don't think he should be disappointed in anything, even though he called the fact that he was going to win the Olympia. I think that Nick showed every pro up there that he's real. He's for real. He's going to take some time off. He's going to improve. I mean, he already improved as a pro from when he was at North Americans. I guarantee he'll improve again. And he shows that he can be not just improving, but consistent from year to year. Consistency is key. If you look at any of the top bodybuilders, their consistency of how they came in over and over again, every show, right? They weren't like blown out one show and all bloated. The next one they're dry. The next one they look like 10 pounds bigger. The next one they look like this. Specifically, they come in consistent all the time, and Nick's already got that part down. That's one of the hardest parts of bodybuilding, is to be consistent from show to show. Most people aren't. He is, right? We saw Hunter Labrada starting to fulfill his destiny as one of the top 5 at the Olympia, right? That's amazing. One of the young guys, his father, same position 25 years ago, right? It's insane. It's really cool to watch that very similar physique to his father's, except much bigger, now doing the same thing his dad did. Awesome. Ramy, again, he came back in, and, I told you guys before when I talked, I said, I don't think he's in the best condition. I don't think he's his best, and he wasn't. He wasn't his best. He was good enough as the Olympia champion to edge out Brandon in the end, but he wasn't at his best. The best one was last year. Now, next year we'll see what happens, but I do believe if Ramy's not careful, he's going to start going backwards. You start adding too much muscle to that frame, you will go backwards. It happens to everybody, right? Look at Ronnie Coleman the last time he competed. He went very far backwards, right? He should have stopped long before he did. Ramy's got 2 Olympia wins now. He keeps pushing the size game. He's going to go backwards faster than he thinks. And Brandon, he keeps putting on size. He's not going backwards. He's still going forwards. This guy, I'm telling you right now, this guy probably can put on another 5 or 6 pounds in his frame, look even bigger, fuller, but his density was what really showed through this year. I was like, man, he looks like a friggin' rock. If you look at him and Hottie standing next to each other, look at the photos, hitting their most musculars, look at Brandon's chest compared to Hottie's. Look at Brandon's chest compared to Ramy. Yes, they have striations. Striations are not density. Brandon's looks literally like it's carved out of stone. They have striations. That is a different type of muscle, especially when you see it with your eyes in person. It's a whole different look, right? You had Ramy, it looked like he had some oil or whatever in his shoulders. They're round, they're full. Like, look at Brandon's shoulders. They're so completely striated through everywhere. Dense muscle, right? Hard, dense muscle. And you could see the separations between it was just, overall, it was one of those things where you're like, look, this one has this one has this one lacks this one lacks this. Let's figure it out and break it down piece by piece, which you can even break it down body part by body part, which is what the judges do to get the placings that they need to get. So 2021, we were back in action. We felt really normal. Everybody was out there. We're happy, enjoying everything that was going on. The expo was back on track. It was almost like when we walked in there, I told my wife, I said, it's almost like the pandemic never happened. Now, I don't know what the future holds, but to have that for a weekend, I really, really fucking needed that. I think most of us really, really needed that. And it excited us for what's to come. And when it moves back to Vegas, it's going to be party time all over again. I can't wait to go back next year. So hopefully you guys are doing well, staying safe away from all this craziness in the world right now. You enjoyed the Olympia, and this explains a little bit as to how things went the way they did. And now, we're on to the next. I'm Bio Street, and I approve this message, and we're out.